Western society has male and female roles all messed up. A Western woman for no good reason believes that being a homemaker, a care provider, and a nurturer for her husband and family, and doing it as a duty to them is somehow her being oppressed. I believe the blame for that goes to feminism or the extreme forms of it which want women to take over men's roles in society. And then we have modern influencer females talking about how men are insecure when it comes to independent women. And I can't even begin to tell you how wrong that assumption is. Any woman who believes men are afraid of an independent woman doesn't understand male psychology or what factors are essential for a man to want to have a long-term relationship. We are not afraid of independent women. We just don't want to deal with a woman who is entitled, argumentative, and looks down on men who aren't afraid to be masculine and vocalize their preferences. Being feminine, nurturing, and taking care of their husbands and kids is not because they're being manipulated or taken advantage of. That is what women should be, to be feminine and nurturing, taking care of their family while the husband protects, leads, and provides. I just have a message for all the people who are coming here to find a partner. There is just one thing that I want to emphasize. Do not bring your dating habits or culture to the Philippines, because you will be influencing and teaching women here to be women you are running from in the West. It really doesn't make sense for modern Western women to be upset at passport bros, or to be fixated on them like they currently are. Men will go wherever they get respect. Right now, they don't get that from modern women in the West. Being upset at these men isn't going to solve a single thing. Modern need introspection and self-reflection more than anything else, and respect the men around them if they don't want them to leave. The only reason these women are mad at the passport bras is because men are standing up saying you're not all that we've got. We've got a number of women to choose from worldwide, so we haven't got to tolerate your argumentative, arrogant selves anymore. Secondly, for the anti-passport bro women to say these women from these other countries are naive, vulnerable, and in impoverished circumstances is very low for them to stereotype these women, when in fact it is not the case. Lastly, the anti-passport bro team is just angry that their dating options are becoming narrower. They won't have a lot of men to reject, and that doesn't go well with polishing their egos. It is a shame that in order to find a woman who is an adult, men have to go to another country where their girls are taught to be accountable, logical, and practical. Women today in the West want a husband who has to make 6 figures, who has to be over 6 feet tall, who has to have a 6 cucumber, who has to have a 6-pack, who has to have multiple streams of income, who has to give an engagement ring worth $50,000 minimum. The wedding must in an exotic destination with celebrities invited, and everything else you can think of. And what do the men want? They only want women to have a body count less than John Wick's kills. Men's standards for women have shrunk to ridiculously low, while women's standards for men are literally impossible to fulfill. In the West, all people want to do nowadays is meet up and have meaningless intimacy, and there's no concept of courtship. Hookup culture has become very toxic because hookup culture benefits guys more than it will ever help girls. Guys mainly just want physical intimacy. They rarely want commitment, but will do practically anything to get laid. Are we done pretending like that's empowering or even healthy, just like the hookup culture? Eastern dating is gradually changing and becoming more modern, especially in tourist areas and big cities. For your information, their dating culture is traditional, not like in the West where you can go out and date and sleep with different people and have multiple options all the time. Man's most basic needs are to be respected and recognized. Today, women are not even remotely appreciative of men. They feel that just being female entitles them to a certain standard of respect. The last time I did something nice for a woman and she thanked me, I can't recall. I've always advised men to choose their own paths. Either embrace your uniqueness or figure out how to fit in wherever it is necessary. I wonder if American women, primarily white middle-class women, have evolved towards interracial experimentation through time in a similar way to American men. In comparison to South America or Asia, I hear more stories of Western women traveling to Black Africa and the Caribbean in search of a physical connection. Western men are looking for submissive women in the East. Is this due to the fact that more and more American women are seeking out stereotypical bad boys to fill the gaps left by American men? Is white women's interest in interracial adult entertainment real or just a made-up myth? Also, does explicit information mislead men or women in its intended direction? I contend that Western men favor women who are subservient. If my estimation is accurate, however, American women are now drawn to more dominating alpha guys. As women never want to accept or admit their truth on their own, it's always amusing to expose them to it. Now, men are traveling to the East in pursuit of attractive women. Moreover, bear in mind that Thailand has very few obese women. Even ladyboys are prettier than Western women. You should now have all the information you require. Women will find such men attractive because even a partially feminized male from the West will likely appear more manly than many Asian men there. It's easy to understand why guys visit these locations when you take into account their financial situation and resources. American and Western men are fleeing Western countries to find the right women abroad. This isn't surprising because the women in their countries are constantly complaining about how they're just not good enough no matter what they do. So much so that the men feel they'd be better off taking a dive into the dating pool of other countries. Their high and far-reaching standards and plain prejudice against men are driving many to move to other countries. It really makes you wonder if this is a genuine shift in the female ideology, or if this is something that women have always wanted to achieve but couldn't in the past. I think it's a mixture of both, however. I really do think that this is something that women, deep down, have always wanted. I mean, if your gender has always been considered inferior throughout previous centuries, it's only natural to want to change that and try to become dominant and taste power. I think it's true women treat the men they think are inferior like garbage and are subservient to the ones they think are high value until they become equals, and then they treat them poorly to get an ego massage. This is what I believe is the true and raw nature of women. It just explains why in most Western societies today, modern women negate traditional gender roles where men are leaders and women follow their lead. For them, being aligned with their feminine side is akin to oppression, and they celebrate when other women go against their nature and instead adopt masculine attributes to dominate men. Are they following the ways of modern women, or are they doing what they wanted to do and become all along this time? So when things aren't going exactly the way women want them to go, in terms of career, relationships, and life overall, they want the equation to magically solve itself. Women aren't programmed to see themselves live through old age alone. This is why they want to have someone by their side as a financial cushion so they can live their lives in peace and not have to live in a nursery home. Ironically, most modern women say they don't need a man and yet depend on them for so much throughout their adult lives. Men come in the form of boyfriends, lovers, and sugar daddies. This is the reality today, plain and simple. Men are just tired of the modern woman who makes it next to impossible for them to go out on a nice date. Their unbelievable standards are making men look the other way and in other directions. To put the icing on the cake, if a guy does get and commit to a woman, there are all the chances that he's going to receive the minimum effort from her. A sorry state of affairs in the bedroom, constant complaining, lack of respect, and divorce. For what? He has his life savings and children taken away as a final nail in the coffin. This is what's causing men to go abroad and search for another woman, something which I don't completely believe in, but can completely understand. It really is a shame for modern women because men in the West are now so desperate to feel appreciated that they're literally flying away from women. They've realized it's just not worth the hassle. Thanks for watching Man Reacts. Show us your love and support by liking this video, sharing it with your friends, and subscribing to the channel. And let us know your thoughts on this in the comments. We're always up for a healthy debate and discussion.